Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Entrepreneur Rescue Mission. This is our first official episode. Obviously, we dropped one last week, kind of like announcing the rebrand and some of the changes to expect. But this is our kickoff episode for 2025, and it is appropriately entitled Reflecting on 2024. We always like to reflect upon, and sometimes we do this via email or even just a Facebook Live. Nancy and I used to do this. We used to reflect on our year prior, the top 10 things that happened. And we thought, obviously, with what we're doing with this podcast, teaching you all the things regarding digital marketing, AI, growing, building, scaling your business, that we share some of the big things to reflect back on from our business in 2024, and obviously what we're doing to change things up in 2025. Nance?
Yeah, absolutely. So, now, obviously, welcome 2025. We're into the new year. It's just such a great time if you haven't done this already, to, like Scott said, really look back at the last year and pull out the good things, right? What are the steps you actually made in your business? What are the strides that you took? What is better, now than it was prior? And I promise you guys, no matter what situation you're in, right? I think we've all been there, full transparency, right? We've we've ridden the entrepreneur wave up and down and we've been all over the place. And there can be times that are very, very trying. We're at the point where, we've got to make major moves in order to make our business work. So, again, we've been all through the different stages, but I really want you guys to really search for what are those things that you're super, super grateful for? What are those things that you really made momentum, in from last year up until this year? I'll say it, and we kind of, I mean, we love obviously core value wise, we're very big about transparency and we like to be raw and real, right? I do believe that it takes a few years to really get the wheels on the bus and really start building the most momentum, in a really successful, big, scalable business. You'll hear all over the place where people will say, oh, yeah, it's just super quick, set it up, and tomorrow you'll be, rocking and rolling and successful. And it works occasionally with some things, okay, maybe even e-commerce and some other, different types of businesses, depending on the marketing and the dollar spend and whatever. The whole point is 3 years is typically right that sweet spot. Right. We've learned our lessons. We've gone through the mindset shifts that need to go, through. We've got the processes in place. We've got the team in place. And guess what? If you don't have those things, then guess what? We have a whole new year that is unfolded with things that we can focus on. So, Scott, I kind of thought it would be fun where we could kind of share a little bit about like what went well for us, just kind of, in the 2024 year. And then we can talk about some things that we realized, right, that we needed work on, and then some things that we're really going to focus on for the upcoming year. So, what went well in our business, in 2024?
I would say three things that come to mind initially is Nancy and I have a goal of growing our business 20 to 30% every year. And we've hit that now for a fifth consecutive year. So this was another big growth year. And you hear us say 20 to 30%. When you can do that year after year, it really compounds over time and your business is in places that you never really thought it could be. And having that nice, steady 20 to 30% growth and being very realistic. And I think that's another big thing about myself and Nancy is we are very realistic with our goals. Yes, you know, oh, we want to go from $100,000 a year to 5 million this year. That's very unrealistic. So we're very realistic with our monetary goals for our business. So we did hit our goal of growing 20 to 30%. Second thing that worked well, I was venting to Nancy one day about really wanting to have something more of my own within our business structure because Nancy has a content repurposing agency. She has a great partnership with her business partner, Andy. They're doing such a phenomenal job. And I don't want to say it was jealousy on my end, but it was almost like FOMO in the sense of like I really wanted to have my little small intimate type of offering that I could focus on a couple times a year. And Nancy said, well, instead of, continuing to do, selling your digital course, which sells all the time, and you're not doing much one-to-one consulting anymore, and you're taking on maybe a client a quarter, why don't you launch a group coaching program for just LinkedIn? And I'm like, huh, that's a great idea. So I put it together over the summer, launched it, and it went phenomenally well. I had 6 people, and 2 of the 6 ended up rolling into our group coaching program, Expert Authority. And I kind of saw this as an opportunity for, say, you know what, Nancy, let me launch this on my own twice a year. And that could be a feeder into our high level group coaching program. So that worked really well. And then I would say the third thing that I feel really worked well is Nancy and I are always looking how we can improve and simplify our offerings. Our largest offering being our year-long group coaching mastermind, Expert Authority. I said to Nancy, why don't we start offering multiple tiers for people to join? And she said, well, what do you mean? Well, I said, we only offer this one tier where it comes with weekly group coaching, quarterly strategies. I said, why don't we create a sub tier underneath that that is at a still a very, very, I would say, applicable monetary investment to where that person in their business is, but not too low where it's going to devalue what we're offering, that maybe they just want group coaching. They just want to be part of the group calls and they don't want to do the one-to-one consulting. They just want to do the group stuff and have access to our training portal. And she's like, I like that idea. And so this past year, the final time, and we launched Expert Authority at the end of September into early October. This was the first time that we actually launched that program as far as having the 2 tiers. And we ended up getting, I think we had 7 new people join. We had 9 renew and come in for a second year, some even a third. And of the 7, 2 did tier 1 that included the quarterly strategies, and 5, the lower tier, which we were very pleased with because A, we love having new people a part of our high level community. But number 2, I would say what was the biggest takeaway is it's not filling our calendar up with more coaching and coaching and coaching. And for me, and I know for Nancy, that felt really good because it's giving us more space to breathe and work with those that really want the one-to-one consulting, and really cater to those that may not necessarily need it. They just want to be a part of the group. And I would say off the bat, those are, I would say, the 3 things to me amongst everything else that worked really well. Nance, what about you?
Yeah. So, moving on to the next, I mean, and I completely agree with Scott. Like all of those things are absolute huge wins that, we've been celebrating, I think, all year long, the increases that we've continued to see, doing things that light us up and make sure, like I checked in with Scott. I'm like, do you like doing, the group coaching? And he's like, I love it. It's great working with people in that capacity. So I just really love kind of the pivots that we made. And Scott's always been really great at helping me just do it rather than, analysis paralysis and overthink it. So I think that we did make a couple pivots within the year that really turned out to be really great. So next, right, so obviously I want you guys to do this as well. So what went well, kind of recap the top 3 things. And then next, the focus is, all right, well, what didn't go so well? And what are some things that we can really focus on for the year ahead? And so the first things that really popped up for me, and I said this in our first, intro episode, we really realized that we had a lot of fluff. Okay. We had a lot of stuff that we had that wasn't necessarily bringing in the best ROI. And also, we had a lot of stuff out there that just wasn't stuff we really like to promote or do. And so, for example, one of our services, we have a posting platform called BYOB Social. I love it. I use it. I've used it for years, with obviously my own agency and clients. But, we did a big push the last couple years promoting it to other people. Well, the fact of the matter is, I don't really want to be a SaaS company. I don't want to manage software. I don't really want to do that. Okay. So having the help desk, the support, the team member who audits, all the clients, whatever, it gets a little messy. And in my honest opinion, we just had a really great chat as we were going through our metrics and our numbers. And we're like, this isn't something I want to put energy into in the upcoming year. And it felt like a weight being lifted. So it's like, why keep doing the things that one, aren't bringing you joy? Number two, aren't really necessarily the best return on your investment. And, three, let's open it up for other things, right, that we can do and really invest our energy in. So, cutting the fluff there, we even looked at our mastermind program, like, I think in my head, right, I wanted to create this all-encompassing program where anyone, right, could come in who is trying to scale their business and really be plugged in and get a nice refresher of clarity and organization and productivity. And the fact of the matter is we invite people into our mastermind every single day. But Scott knows, right, with our audience, with what I do in my agency, with what Scott does, most people come to us for what? LinkedIn. Okay. So most people love to utilize Scott's, LinkedIn lead generation system. Most people love to, make sure that they're using LinkedIn each and every day. And so that's really the foundational heart of our entire program. And so we kind of really looked at the program as a whole. And we're going to be going in and actually reducing, some of the training that's in the portal and really keep it hyper focused on helping people get really solid wins because we know, right, the biggest problem that we see with a lot of these people building and growing their businesses is the lack of visibility, right? The lack of sales, right? Consistent sales in their business, the lack of focus and accountability, right? So these things are always a struggle and we see it rinse and repeat. And our best clients, meaning the clients that are knocking it out of the park, are all doing what on LinkedIn, Scott?
They're connecting with new people each day. They're messaging people each day to get on a get to know you or consult call. They are posting at least 3 times a week. They are engaging with those that engage with them.
They're following
They're
Scott's system,
and
right?
and I actually just shared this with Nancy. So I still do some consulting. So I'm working with a great guy right now. He actually sold his company for a lot, and he now is coaching other CEOs of how to grow their business to get ready to sell it if they want to do that, like he did with 2 different companies. Great guy, and he invested in coming onto my podcast. So I was interviewing him. And when we finished, he's like, tell me a little bit about, how you help people with LinkedIn. Told him, he said, you know what? I think I want to work with you. Can you send me some information? I did. A week later, he said, send me an invoice. I want to pay you in full for your consulting, which he did. So we've been consulting now for about 5 weeks and putting everything together. He's doing his connecting, he's doing his messaging, and he told me that he's about to onboard his first consulting client. And these are high paying clients. So the client that is about to onboard him, his company is making multiple 7 figures a year, close to 8 figures. And so you can imagine and that's just one client. And not only does that one client 3 to 4x the investment that he made with me. Now he's seeing the power of how LinkedIn works. And he's like, this is great. He goes, this is much easier than I thought it would be. And to Nancy's point, those that follow the system that we teach on LinkedIn will get results.
Yeah, and we've seen it like time and time again. Like everyone in our mastermind program, the ones who were actually
Doing the
doing
work.
the newsletters and putting themselves out there on LinkedIn. Like we had someone actually reach out to us totally nonchalantly. Was it like a $50,000 contract deal?
Yeah.
I think reach
Yep.
out and say, "Oh yeah, someone read my newsletter and reached out and I closed a $50,000 proposal."
Well,
What?
Jeremiah, I told you this. Jeremiah
Yeah.
just rehired me for a third time, right?
Yeah.
And he hired me initially about 3 years ago, and we started coaching again because he wants to try different things on LinkedIn now. He's ready for more. He said to me the other day, the contract that I secured from what you taught me on LinkedIn, which was close to $300,000, still to this day, I'm 20 years into my company. At the time, we were 18 years in. It's still the highest contract we've ever received, ever. And it's because of what you taught me on LinkedIn. So,
Yeah.
and again, one contract,
Yeah.
$300,000.
Well, even, I share too, and then we'll kind of move on from the topic. But, again, coming back to LinkedIn, I think there's so many people out there not doing it well. There's a lot of LinkedIn experts saying, "Oh yeah, I know what I'm talking about." And like their
Experts,
stuff
yeah.
is awful, and they don't understand really how LinkedIn works. And they're trying to use all these not safe for the platform, automations and bots
Automations.
and spammy messages that guys just LinkedIn does not like, and you might get your account shut down. So the moral of the story is like we've been sleeping and breathing this, and it just seems so natural, right, to kind of come together and have this be the heart of everything. So again, right, these are things that we know, right, are working, and we want to do more of the things that are working and less of the things that are not. So we're cutting the fluff, right? We're getting back to some basics, and you can better believe, right? In fact, we're going to be opening the doors to our mastermind soon, right?
Couple weeks. Yeah.
In fact, we have cut it down, and we actually only launch it, a very minimum, right? 2 times a year. That's
Yep.
it. And so this is actually one of the best times to join to really set yourself up for success in the new year, Scott.
And just to kind of piggyback off of what Nancy just said, we used to launch it 3 times a year, and we decided to only launch it two. Ideally, with what we're building behind the scenes, we're going to be scaling it to just 1 time a year in the next year to 18 months.
And,
So
yeah.
if it's going to become like this is not like
Well, this is the only
now
capacity, yeah, that you can
it's going
work
to be
with
but
us in
yeah,
this
it's going to
way.
be
Like,
more and more exclusive.
oh, 100%. And it's so funny because, we get the comment all the time, which, it's going on about 4 years now. Number one, a lot of people don't know that we have a mastermind, which it is intimate, it is exclusive, right? We do only invite and let in, it's usually about 10 to 15 people each time. So that's why, right, we're actually continuing down that path. And it is really like, Scott said, it's the only way to work with us in this capacity. But the whole point is right, we're getting ready to open the doors. The big thing to just note there is setting yourself up for success for the year ahead, right? Knowing, right, we've reflected on the year prior, knowing what we want to achieve in the year ahead, right? Setting those big three goals, right, that you can break down and really make some huge strides in your business can be everything. And like we mentioned, right, having LinkedIn as the fuel, right, as the sales process and lead generation machine that we know works for your business, it is going to be absolutely epic. So we're really pouring some fuel on that fire. Super excited for some things that are coming around the bend. The other thing that we realized, right, that, maybe wasn't working as well, we had a missing piece of the puzzle in the business that we have together, right? We have Expert Foundations, which is a 6 month kind of plug and play self-paced course. We've got our mastermind, but we were missing that thing in the middle. And what I'll tell you guys, it is so important, okay, to kind of look at your business as a whole right now and stop trying to force what people need, right? I know, and in fact, a lot of times this happens with like mindset coaches or people who know, right? Everybody needs this. But we've got to shift, and we got to be empathetic, and we got to look at what our ideal clients really want. Okay. What do they want to invest in? What would they want to purchase? Right. Rather than us pushing this thing that we know that they need. Well, guys, the thing that bubbled up when Scott, our COO, and, myself were on a call, and we're like, all right, what does everybody keep asking for, right? When they're done Scott's programs, when they're done mine, or, whatever, what is that gap? What is that bridge? And it's content, right? It's content creation, and especially around LinkedIn. And so we started brainstorming a little bit, and we're like, how amazing would it be to have a community, right? A place where people can come together, right? All service professionals, coaches, consultants, people who can come under one roof and learn the best practices and the best ways to post engaging and really awesome content that builds that brand awareness and familiarity and sets you apart as the expert and the thought leader in your space, all on LinkedIn. And so we are really putting together something amazing there. And that has been, whew, I would say honestly, years in the making. And it really took us to stop for a second, look around, and really realize what people were really missing. And so there's going to be a lot of really cool things. We're going to get into it, as things kind of unfold. But like I said, we've got a lot of really exciting things in the year ahead. Now, with that being said, and I want you guys to obviously write this down for yourself, what maybe needs, to go away, in the upcoming year? What can you stop doing? And then what are some things that you do want to focus on, right? So we already talked about more reoccurring income, right, with a membership, kind of up leveling our value ladder. We're decreasing, right, some of those businesses or those programs that might be pulling our energy in to free us up for some other things. So
Less coaching.
yeah, yeah. So what does that look like in your business? And I do want to challenge all of you, whether you are just building or maybe you're growing your business or maybe you're scaling. A good idea is to always look at, okay, what are the things in your business that you absolutely do not love doing? Okay. Look at those little processes, look at the things. I had a revelation, right? I actually went away. I had like a business focused little vacation, and I was really honing in and working on my content and some other things. And I realized there are certain things that I just do not like doing in my business. And I find myself being very inconsistent with them, right? It might be mapping out my content or finishing up some of my long form content, whatever it might be for you. Think about where those little bottlenecks are in your business. Okay. And the answer to that, okay. And again, this is going to be different, for people where whichever phase you're in, it's either going to be money is going to solve the problem or maybe a little bit more time and attention. And here's the thing, is it a process that needs to be put into place so that you can be more consistent with it? Or is it a team member, guys? Is it time to hire someone specifically to take some of this stuff off your plate? Now, a little exercise that I wanted to throw out there that, for anyone who does have a team, whether it's large or small, something that I did the other day, and I am like really excited about it, to be honest with you. I take a huge interest in the people that work with us. I know that, as someone who used to do virtual assistant work, online business management, digital marketing, um, there are things that I love to do and there are things that I do not like to do. There are clients that I've absolutely loved working for, and there's clients that I absolutely hated working for. And I know that I had very big goals. And I really do feel like if you're working with someone who cares about you, right, it should be an open and transparent conversation about the goals that you have in life, personal and business. And so, one thing that I had my team do actually sent out. Now I work with independent contractors, right? So you cannot have like performance reviews or, coaching conversations, things like that, right? So it's very important, right? You got to keep the boundaries there. But I sent out a completely optional, right, Google document to all my team members that had spaces, right? What are some things that you really love doing? What are some things that you're really skilled at? What are some things maybe you do for other clients that you'd love to do more of? Is there a bigger capacity for you to take on more workload? What are your personal and professional goals? And again, this form is completely optional, but how cool is that we can have that conversation? And I've already had one of these with one of my team members, and it was a wonderful conversation. She got so excited. She's like, I want to learn more about like, podcast editing and even video editing. And these are things I didn't know. And I'm like, oh my God, we need more support there. So that's where, again, this is a great opportunity as well for you to do that with the current team that you have. And really dial in, right? See what people care about your team, right? That's a big thing that I just want to put out there that a lot of times we just get stuck in our own stuff and we don't look up and around and realize, right, the support that's necessary to help us get things done. So again, look at your people and your processes. Is there a fix to this thing that's a little bit of a bottleneck in your business? The other notes, and then, we're going to wrap it up in just a second, is, what do we need to, really simplify in our business, all around so that we can really skyrocket forward. So if you find yourself having like way too many services or programs or products, I really want you to think right now, like, what is bringing in the most money? right? If you were to just really hone in and build your list and focus and really target, a certain program or product that you have, what is that product? Um, the other note that I added here is, stop comparing yourself to other businesses and where other people are. Only compare yourself to where you were last year, and let's really devote and commit ourselves to be better this upcoming year. So, those are just a couple things. Again, guys, just wrapping it up, right? Reflect on your 2024. What are some things that went really well? I want you guys to pull three, okay? At least three things that went really well. What are some things that need work, right? Where can you cut the fat? Where can you really dial in? What are some things that you want to start doing in the upcoming year to really, set yourself up for success? Look at those people and the processes to fix some of those things. And then I just want you to choose three really, really big goals, right? That you can achieve this year. And you know what? If you guys are looking for some people to do it together with and a network of people who totally get it and are right there growing with you and looking to build, grow, and scale their businesses, then check out our mastermind. So you're going to hear a little bit more about it. Of course, we'll talk about it in upcoming episodes. But it's definitely a great time to really jump off the diving board and really fully walk through the valley of focus and get those business goals accomplished.
Yep.
So
And these are things that we do every single year. We
every year.
always reflect and we look forward. So we just really want to leave you guys better. And sometimes you don't take enough time reflecting on the things that really worked well. And you think that there were more things that failed that succeeded. And that's most of the time, that's not the case. There's always victories to learn along the way and to reflect along the way. And that's why we want you in this episode, as we kind of move right into 2025, to really reflect on those things that worked, but also what can you do to change things that didn't work to make 2025 even better. So again, as always, if you want to learn more about us, just go to thetimetogrowcom. That is our website that has more about our programs, our mastermind, and a little bit more about myself and Nancy and how we do work together and how we can help you. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a great rest of your day. Love and gratitude, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye bye.